All right, my friends. Well, welcome back. I'm so glad that you're here. Today, we're going to be talking about something that will make your life infinitely easier, which makes me excited to be able to share with you. I want to teach you exactly how you can start a business without having any risk inside of it. And I know that sounds crazy, and you may think, well, there's always going to be some risk, but there are ways that you can mitigate almost all of it, right? It's really, really helpful and it's meaningful to understand. And so, stay to the end because we're going to be talking about four kind of main ideas here that will be meaningful for you, especially if you're wanting to start something that brings in some extra money or allows you to have a little bit more freedom. And remember to like the video if you can and subscribe. It really helps as far as getting this message out to other entrepreneurs or people that are looking to be able to create some more opportunity or freedom in their life. So, the number one thing that you want to do to be able to mitigate risk is utilize an idea called asymmetric risk. Okay, it's a finance term, and we're going to talk a little bit about it here. All it really means, if we were to break it down, it's very simple, is that the amount of risk you're assuming is much, much, much lower to zero, right, than the actual reward that you can enjoy. All right. So, what I mean by that is, let's say the risk profile of a particular project is one, but the reward is a 10. That represents asymmetric risk. That would be a good opportunity to hop into, right? Unfortunately, what a lot of people do is jump in the other way. There may be an idea that has a risk profile of an 8 and a reward profile of a 2, right? And that could be very dangerous for someone. It may cost a lot of money, a lot of capital, right, to be able to invest into the project or to spend before any money can be made. And that is the recipe for gambling, right? Rolling the dice and just crossing your fingers and hoping something works. And that won't allow you to have the peace of mind that's possible when starting a company. So again, asymmetric risk is where the risk is much lower, much, much lower than the potential reward that you can receive. And these are the opportunities that you should be looking for in starting a business. Okay. You guys have heard me talk a lot about service based arbitrage. That is a great place to start. It's where I started in business, and it works insanely well. There's no risk in service based arbitrage, which is really cool. All right, number two, we're going to focus on revenue generation above all else. All right, so to mitigate risk, we want to first focus on bringing money into the business, right? You don't really have a business until you've made at least a buck, right? And so, unfortunately, what I see with people as they begin to start companies is them focusing on, I've got to have the coolest logo, or I've got to make sure that my website is perfect and that the design is just what it should be, or else I'm not going to be able to grow my business. That's not true. Okay. I have a student who is actually learning service-based arbitrage, and he had made, it was like $31,000 in a month. It's in his eighth month in the program before he even had a website. All right. Really cool. So you can make a whole lot of money without having to worry about what your logo looks like or what your website looks like. And so focus on revenue generation, finding people that need help, providing a solution, and getting paid for that solution. All right. Really, really cool. Focus on revenue first. First things first, making money in the business. All right. Number three, we need to make sure that we are time blocking. All right. Sometimes when we start businesses, it can be overwhelming. It can feel a little bit stressful. That's not necessary, but it's natural. People feel these things when they're doing something brand new or that's uncomfortable. The best way to be able to get rid of those feelings of overwhelm is blocking out your time. I talked about this in the last video a little bit, but I wanted to rehearse it here because it's so important. Instead of feeling like you need to spend 8 hours a day on your business, all you need, because that'll burn you out, right? Right in the beginning. You can ease into that, but the first thing you should do is say, okay, I'm starting a business. I need to dedicate at least this much time, X amount of time today to working on the business. Right. There's a great book called Effortless by a guy named Greg McEwen. And one of the formulas he lives by that I like so much, he says, I'll never do less than X and I'll never do more than Y. So that could be, I'll never do less than 30 minutes working on my business, but I'll never work on it for more than 8 hours a day. Right. Or as you're starting it, maybe I may not, I won't work on it for more than an hour a day, right? As you're just getting things rolling and getting kind of into the groove of things. And that'll help you to not feel overwhelmed. So time block, you can say, all right, from 9 to 5, I'm going to be, you could be at your regular job, right? Your 9 to 5 job. You're going to come home, relax. And then you're going to say, I'm going to take 30 minutes to work on my business. All right. So that's the third thing that you can do. Kind of summarizing real quick where we've been. Number one, we want to look for opportunities that have asymmetric risk, very low risk profile, very high reward. If you're looking for something like that, service-based arbitrage is an amazing way to go. Number two, what we want to do is focus on revenue generation. We want to put first things first. All right, bringing money into the company before a lot of money is going out. Right? There are opportunities out there that allow you to make money before you spend money. That is awesome. That's right where you want to be, okay? Number three, we want to make sure that we are time blocking. We don't just want to wake up in the morning and be like, I'm going to work on my business at some point today. Make sure that you've got a plan, right? I've got a good friend, Dave Allred, who said, let your destination determine the path that you take instead of letting your path determine your destination. So figure out where you want to go and then let that place determine which path you take. All right, really important. Fourth thing that we want to talk about here that's really important to mitigating or lowering risk is keeping your expenses low. All right. There are a lot of people out there who think they need to go get the best stuff in order to make their business work, and you don't need it. You can get it later if you choose to, but you can make a lot of money just using your cell phone, right? Really, really cool. There's a lot of software that costs a ton of money. You don't need it in the beginning, right? You can use free tools. It's very helpful. Like Google Sheets can do all kinds of crazy stuff, right? It's free. You can use Google Docs. You can use your note app in your phone or on your computer. You can find a free CRM, a customer relationship management system, right? That's free to use. Really cool to be able to understand this. I know HubSpot has one of those, right? And then as you grow in your business, remember, as you start making money, then you can start purchasing some other things that make kind of lighten your load a little bit more as time goes on. But don't worry about paying a bunch or spending a bunch in the beginning. Another example might be Zoom, right? You can have a free version of Zoom. I pay for my version, but I'm not at the beginning of my business. You can use a free version that'll let you meet with people for up to 45 minutes without paying a dime, right? Really, really cool. So lower your expenses, right, in the beginning so that you mitigate risk. Very helpful. All right, and a bonus one. I told you to stick around to the end. We talked about this a little bit last week, but in the video, but I wanted to bring it back up just because it's so important. Don't worry about quitting your job if you're going to start a company right off the bat, right? You don't need to jump ship and say, okay, I'm going to start a company, so I need to go to my boss and quit my job right now. You can ease into it, right? You can ease into starting your business. And if you want more resources on that, go watch the video from last week. It'll be very, very helpful. So again, top to bottom, how we can mitigate risk, how we can start a company with almost no risk to even zero risk, right? Is number one, utilizing and looking for asymmetric risk. Number two, focusing on revenue generation, putting first things first. Number three, making sure that we are time blocking, setting aside time to work on the things that matter most. Number four, we're going to keep expenses low, right? To zero. We don't want to be spending a lot of money before we have a lot of money coming in. And number five, don't jump ship right in the beginning. Keep your full-time job, then move into a part-time job as you make more money, and then jump into full-time entrepreneurship. I hope this has been really helpful, and I hope it's something that you utilize. I hope it gives you courage above anything else to be able to think, hey, I can start a business and I can do it without feeling like I need to be overwhelmed or feeling like it needs to be this big, huge challenge or risk invoking thing. All right. You can start a business without it having to be risky. Love it. You guys deserve the best. Again, please like and subscribe. There will be more content coming soon. So grateful you were here this week. Talk soon.